So imagine roots growing out of your feet all the way to the center of the earth. And if you like, you can put your palms up in your lap, or you can put your left hand down and your right hand up, which allows the energy to come in and go out. Or you can also do a little mudra where you're just taking your thumb and your index finger, anything that's comfortable for you. If you put your tongue very lightly on the roof of your mouth, where the teeth and the soft palate meet, it stimulates your pineal gland, which increases your intuition, which I always thought was really incredible. And I'm going to have you breathe in through your nose for a count of 5 and hold it for a count of 5. And as you breathe out through your mouth for a count of 5, in your head, silently say the word breathing. Just say it in your head. And again, breathe in through your nose. Hold it, imagining a beautiful golden light filling your forehead. And breathe out through your mouth and silently say the word breathing. And breathe in through your nose and hold it. And as you breathe out, silently say the word breathing. I'm going to do it one more time. Breathe in and hold it. Breathing. Now you're going to imagine yourself standing in front of an elevator, and this elevator can look any way you want it to. And you get inside the elevator and the door closes, and you notice that on the top of the door, there are numbers starting at B for basement and going all the way to 10 for consciousness. So starting at 10, you're going to close your eyes and you're going to imagine yourself going down this elevator. So it's 10, 10, 10, 9, 9, 9, 8, 8, 8, 7, 7, 7, 6, 6, 6, 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, B, 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 and the door opens up and you get out. And once outside, you notice that you're in a meadow, a beautiful, beautiful meadow. And the sky is a bright, bright turquoise blue. And they're fluffy white clouds. And the sun is shining. It's almost the color of a really ripe lemon. And the grass is the most incredible shade of green. And there are wildflowers, almost any color you can imagine. Bright pinks and oranges and reds and any color that you could even think of. And you notice you can hear birds singing and you see how fresh everything smells. You just sit there for a minute and you decide to get up because you notice that on your left, there's a small hill and there are a bunch of trees. It's almost like a small forest. So you decide to climb up that hill and you start walking through the trees. And as you're doing this, you're noticing how everything just smells so ripe. And you can see the sun shining through the trees. And you notice as you walk a little further, there's some branches in the middle of the road. Big branches, actually, and they're kind of in the way. And you decide that you need to get to the other side of these branches, so you do whatever you need to do to get there. Maybe pick up the branches and move them. Maybe you climb over them. Anything that works for you that'll get you to the other side. And once you've done that, you walk a little more. And as you're walking, you notice suddenly, or you sense that you're not alone, that you're being watched, not maliciously, but just sort of curiously. And so you follow the feeling of the eyes to this bush. And you notice that there are a couple eyes staring at you. And you go right there. And as you open up the bushes, you notice there's an animal. And it can be any animal that you want it to be, but this will be your companion, your power animal for your journey. You can ask it what it wants, but you don't need to, but maybe it does have a message for you. So you and your animal are walking down the path. And as you're walking down the path, you notice there's a bridge, and you walk over the bridge, and you're seeing in the water these beautiful bright carp and just all kinds of fish. And you're feeling this sense of contentment and oneness. And you're walking a little further, still seeing a lot of trees and a lot of light. And in the far distance, over to the right, you see a house. So you and your animal decide to go investigate, and you walk off the path, and you walk down another path to the house. And there's a fence, there's a gate in front of the house with a key ring on it. And you pick up the key ring with the key, and you go to the house and you unlock the door, and you tell your animal to go around to the back, and you will meet them when you're finished. And you unlock the door, and you notice several things. You notice that on the right, far right, there's a table with 4 different items, one that represents fire, one that represents water, one that represents earth, and one that represents air. And they can be any symbols that you want. And then you notice that on the left of the house, still in the house, but on the far left, there's some steps going down to the cellar. So you decide to investigate. You go down one step, and then the next, until you're at the very, very bottom. And once you get inside, you'll notice what it looks like. This represents your subconscious. Is it neat? Does it have a lot of clutter that you don't need? What color is it? If there's anything that's just getting to your subconscious, anything that you'd like to get rid of, there's a beautiful purple and turquoise flame of Saint Germain. And you can just throw anything you no longer need in there and just watch it disappear. And you notice how you feel much, much lighter now. Just look at the subconscious room, see if you need to redecorate it, see if you want to change it any. And then you notice it's time to see what else the house has for you. So you go up the steps, first one, then the other, and pretty soon you're all the way to the top. And once you've done that, you walk down the hall, all the way to the end of the hall. And once you're in the end of the hall, you notice you're in a kitchen. And so you check it out. Is there water running from the faucets? Open up the refrigerator. Is there food in the refrigerator? Open up the cupboards. Are there dishes? The food in the refrigerator represents how you nourish yourself. The plates and the dishes, what you use to nourish yourself with. No judgment at all. Just notice if maybe you need to fill this up a little more. Maybe get rid of some of that Diet Coke and add some water. By the way, the water just represents life, the water coming through the faucet. And just look around for a minute. And then you decide that you really want to go and see what else is out there. And it's a wonderful house. So in the kitchen, there is a back door. And you open up the back door and you get out and you notice there's a deck. And there's a telescope on the deck. And you notice that, and you also notice that in the far distance is your animal just waiting for you. So you decide to take this telescope that's on the deck and see what you can see. And so you take the telescope and you adjust it, and you notice that you're looking at the solar system. You're looking at all the planets and all the stars. And as you're looking at them, your eyes fall on one planet, which is a little darker, a little dry, a little sad. And you realize it's Earth, and that there's so much need for love and healing. So you just allow yourself to send her as much love and healing as you can. And see if you just see what type of feeling you're getting. And then you decide to go down and take your animal. And you notice that in the distance, there is a mountain. Beautiful purple and white mountain. So you and your animal walk all the way to the mountain. And you're amazed for a mountain that looks so large and looks so far away that you're so close to it. And as you're standing at the bottom of the mountain, wanting to know how to get up to the top, a winged chariot led by Pegasus, the winged horse, comes, and the doors open up, and you and your animal go to the top, and you start very, very slow. First one level, and then the next, and then the next, and before long, you're way up at the top of the mountain. And the chariot lands, and the doors open up, and you get out. And what you notice when you're up there is how beautiful and white and pristine it is. Just the most beautiful golden feeling, almost like snow and the sunlight on snow. As you're standing there, you're approached by a very wise being, and you realize that this is one of your guides. And ask them if they have a message for you, or if you've got a question, feel free to ask them, or just see if you need to know anything. Just allow yourself to be there and relax and take in the sense of oneness that you're experiencing. Now, if you want to, you can touch your right arm and you can go back and remember how this feels anytime you'd like to go back there. And then you decide it's time to go back into the chariot and go back to the house. And so you do. And you start descending very slowly, and then a little more quickly, and a little more quickly. And pretty soon, you're at the very bottom of the mountain, which is incredible because it seems so far away. And the chariot stops, and you thank Pegasus for taking you on this journey. And the chariot disappears, and you and your companion animal go back to the house. The animal stays in the backyard, and you decide to go back in. And as you go back in, the first thing you do is you look through the telescope and you look at Earth, and you see if it looks different. Maybe it's a little greener. Maybe it seems a little more loved. Maybe it just seems different energetically. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. No judgment in this whatsoever. Then you go into the kitchen, open the refrigerator. Is it stocked more differently? Is it stocked? There are different things in it. Open up the cupboards. Look at the plates and cups and silverware and just see if any of it's different. Is it more complete? Turn on the faucet and see if perhaps water's coming out where it wasn't before. And if it was before, that's okay too. You're going to continue to walk down the hall. And on the far, far, far right is the cellar again. So you decide to go down the cellar. Once you get in the cellar, does it look different to you? Is it a different color? Are there things in it that weren't there before? Is it neater? See if you can just focus on some of the items in there. And then it's time to leave. So you go back up the steps. And at the very top of the steps, you're going to notice at the other end of the main room, the great room, is that table with the elements on it. You decide to take something and leave it as a gift, as a thank you to the house. But then you also notice that there's a piece of paper with your name on it. So you take the piece of paper and you put it in your pocket. You close the door and you lock the door and you walk all the way down the path to the gate, leave the key on the gate, and you're greeted by your animal again. And so the two of you decide to go back home. And you start walking down the path back to the woods. And you continue walking and you just notice how much at peace you feel. Just this wonderful, incredible oneness. And you go up the hill and down the woods. And then you realize that it's time for you and your animal to say goodbye. So you ask if it has a message for you. You can also ask if it has a name and why it was there. What did it decide to come for? And also ask it if it'd like to stay with you. Maybe it wants to come back with you to this plane. No judgment either way. And as you continue walking, you go back to where the branches were and you notice if they're cleared or not. Now, the thing about the branches is this: what you decided to do with the branches when you saw them and needed to get past them is the way you deal with obstacles. So do you go over them? Do you walk around them? Do you just pick them up and throw them out? Just interesting to observe. And you're walking down the path and you go back down the end of the hill and you notice that in the distance is the elevator. And so you get back in and the door shuts. And because you got out at B, you're going to get back in at B. So it's B, 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 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. Now with 4, it's different. It's 4, 4, 4, 4. The door opens up and you get out. And the reason you get out at 4 is B is your subconscious, 10 is your consciousness. 4 is your semi-conscious state. And you can stay in that state all day. It's a very, very, very alpha-like state. And then when you go back and do it again, you'll start at 10. And one more thing before I bring you back, you reach inside that pocket, you pull out the note with your name on it, and you see if there's a message for you. And now I'm going to bring you back. So I want you to just wiggle your feet a little bit and move your body and move your hands and imagine the roots that were going out to the earth just dissolving all the way to the center of the earth and being absorbed back from whence they came. And you're going to breathe in, move yourself, take a deep breath, open your eyes, and welcome back. And I would love when there's still some people who haven't come back yet, so we'll take our time.